We have many people not believing in merit in a country where, like other parts of the developing economies, where people don't believe that things can be done in a straight manner, that when you see an advert, you can respond to it and purely on your own merit be chosen to be here. I think we give hope to those young people that there is a future for the innovators, for the thinkers, and that in MESP we will be at the forefront of championing good governance, and demonstrating it is where we allow young men and women, including the woman from Laikipia who our CEO has just mentioned here, to give them an opportunity to defend themselves purely on their ability to do something that is outstanding. Next year, I do hope to see younger minds here in primary school and in secondary schools and probably in our universities, starting to be champions of green growth. And why we think as MESP those should be part of us is because, contrary to many of us who don't feel threatened, the young minds, if they institutionalize and internalize green growth concepts, it will be easier for them to protect the environment, it will be easier for them to protect the future, because they will have internalized it at the early age. But today, some of us, when you challenge people as to why they are cutting trees, they are not able to understand why you are concerned with their cutting trees, because it's not yours. When you tell somebody why they should not use the forests, why they should not destroy the forests, some of them genuinely have concerns that how do I protect tomorrow when I cannot survive today? So when we bring young people to be part of us, they will be better able to protect the future, and I think it would be a good way for us to further entrench green growth in the minds of Kenyans. And finally, let me thank you all for coming and for being here, and to make you understand as MESP, we know the challenges you are going through. We exist to support you go through those challenges. Come to us, challenge us, what we need to do, the doors we need to knock, be they donors, be they in government, be they in designing products that suit you, be it working with you through the process of designing products, getting the market accept your products. Whatever it is, please talk to us. We are genuine. We are waiting for you. We exist because of you. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you for those remarks, Chairman, and reminding us why we are indeed here for the next 2 days. The theme is accelerating sustainable development through inclusive green growth. The operative word there is inclusive. Are we ensuring that all actors, all players are involved in the green growth agenda here in Kenya? The women, the youth. We heard the CEO of MEST actually talk about the importance of engaging all these groups, individuals with disabilities. They need to be part of the conversation. They need to be part of this initiative. And to take us through a bit more of what this inclusive growth actually means, I want to invite John Nyangena, the policy analyst at the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, KIPRA, and he'll be giving a presentation on the inclusive green growth as a catalyst to economic development in Kenya. John, please make your way up.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm extremely privileged to speak to you about this important concept of green growth. When I was invited to talk to you, I was given a blank check And so I was told, just come and talk to us what you think is important and relevant to the conference. And I want to share what I think is important in terms of the macroeconomic aspects of green growth and why it's important for Kenya as a country to pursue the green growth agenda. At Kipra, we have been engaged in a number of initiatives on green growth. We have supported the development of the green economy and green economy strategy and implementation plan for the Ministry of Environment. We have also worked on the Switch Africa Green document. We have done some work on green jobs through ILO. We have also done a scoping paper with UNEP on green fiscal policies. Again, on the same note, we have done some work on preliminary indicators for measuring green growth. And of course, we are very keen on green financing. So this is the work which we have been handling in the last 2 years, meaning that green growth is becoming a key area of focus. So what I'll be doing, I want to give a general introduction. I will present some context of green economy. I will then mention briefly the benefits of inclusive growth before looking at what are the potential, where does the potential lie, and then I will make my own suggestions on what I think needs to be done. On that slide, I want to show how the Kenyan economy has been performing since 1980s to current. That's the GDP growth rate of Kenya. And the big story here is that our economy is highly variable. It has a lot of ups and downs, and it is subject to a number of shocks, both internal and external. Internal factors include the political events as well as the drought or climate-related extremes. Whenever we have a drought, like I think the one which is creeping in, its effect will be manifest on the GDP. Whenever we have an election, it affects our GDP. So these are some of the stresses or factors which affect our economic growth. So it's an economy which is highly vulnerable to shocks. But the general trend is that our economy is actually moving up. In terms of our environmental aspects, there are a number of concerns. One, the rate of biodiversity loss is quite high. We are losing a lot of our forest resources. Our wildlife habitat is being lost, as well as the wildlife itself. The rate of degradation of our freshwater bodies is quite high. So we are losing a lot of fresh water, and we are also polluting the same resources. We are also experiencing high pollution levels. At the same time, Kenya is now venturing into the extractive industries, and a lot of aspects which we need to think about is aspects of information asymmetry. We actually don't know what resources we have, who has been granted the rights to exploit those resources, and what about the revenue sharing? Once these resources start flowing, we have no idea who is going to get what. These are some of the concerns which, in my view, have a lot of implication on green growth. And finally, there is the whole aspect of climate change and extremes. So we are looking at an economy which is operating within this environment of environmental concerns. So this is a quotation from the World Bank report which says, therefore, inclusive growth, green growth requires tackling political economy constraints, overcoming deeply entrenched behaviors and social norms, and developing innovative financing instruments to change incentives and promote innovation. In brief, what we are saying, our concern, therefore, should not just be growth. We should not be preoccupied with the GDP growth rates, but also how we are growing and how that growth is affecting our economy. So, here I'm trying to we seem to have a lot of understanding on the concept of sustainable development and the three pillars of the economic pillar, the environmental pillar, and the social pillar. But we are saying we need to bring in green growth so that it ties these three nicely so that we are able to have an equitable and inclusive growth. So sustainable development is good in itself, but the green growth needs to tie the three corners of sustainable development if an inclusive growth is to be realized. This is a very interesting slide. This is how I've tried to conceptualize the concept of green growth. It has three quadrants, that diagram. The horizontal shows how the economy grows horizontally. As the economy grows, so we are moving towards, you move horizontally, it shows the economic growth. As you move up vertically, it's a measure of the greenness. How green is that economy? If you look at quadrant number 3, that quadrant number 3 represents a case where the economy is very low and the greenness is quite low. It's an economy where people are very poor and the rate of environmental degradation is quite high. And that when the economy is performing within that quadrant, I'm just referring it to a failed economy. If you move to quadrant number 2, it shows an economy where it is very green, but people are very poor. And that one actually is the subsistence economy, where people are just talking of greenness without regard to the GDP or the welfare. And that is what the hunter-gatherer society. People were living in a very green environment, but very poor livelihoods. And that's one of the cases of an economy which can operate in that quadrant. If you look at quadrant number 4, here the economy is doing very well, very rich, people are very wealthy, but the levels of environmental degradation are quite high. That's at quadrant number 4. And maybe that's what I'm just, because of lack of a better term, I'm just calling it a brown economy. People are rich, people are wealthy, but they have no environment to live in. Therefore, quadrant number 1 is where I think green growth comes in, where we want to shift things so that the economy operates at a very high economic level, while at the same time ensuring the environment is maintained. So how do we go about it? Most of the developed economies, they adopted a case where they said, because the economy is fueled by the natural resources, we extract from the natural resources, we grow, then we clean up later. Okay? Let me try to explain this like this. This figure is quite interesting. On your horizontal level, again, is what we call the per capita income. As the country grows, because of the pollution and the extraction from the environment, it is like it's supposed to degrade the environment. But it does start up to a certain point, which is point A. At point A is a point where, as you extract from the environment, you are able to sustain it. But once you move above point A, it means now you are extracting more than what the environment can sustain. So you start degrading the environment after point A as you move above that red line. But you can only continue doing that up to a certain point where the environment will collapse, and so your economy will start moving down. This is a very important economic model which developed countries used. So for them, they did a lot of pollution, then they started cleaning later on. So for us, which is for a developing economy like Kenya, the question we need to ask is, how do we move from point A to point B without moving at the tipping point or without passing through the tipping point. There are two ways. One, you can either leapfrog, you jump very quickly from A to B, or you can construct a tunnel from point A to point B so that you don't have to pass through at the top. Green economy therefore means that you look for ways and means of increasing your economy without necessarily compromising the environment. That's the key message in that graph. Now, why should we go green? This is some of the analysis. Actually, this is a very important analysis which we did when we were doing the Green Economy Assessment Report, and this information has been generated by a T21 model. We are moving from 2010 to 2030. That's the movement we want to make. And in this diagram, we are looking at the poverty levels. How would the poverty levels behave come to 2030? If we continue with the current business as usual development paradigm, where we are just doing our historical development, our poverty level will be represented by red. By 2030, our poverty rate will be at point along the line marked red. But if we invest in green economy, by 2030, the poverty levels will be shown by green, meaning green growth has got the capacity to reduce the poverty level. So the difference between the red and the green is a result of green growth investments. So as a country, therefore, we have generated figures to show that green growth has got benefits. We are able to cut down our poverty levels if we invest in green growth. Here we have also tried to generate some figures to show how the economy will behave if it follows the business as usual model, and also if we were to invest in green economy. And the same story emerges. The red is how the economy will be by 2030. Okay? The red shows the economy will be operating just below 4% per annum. But if we were to go green, our GDP will be operating somewhere above around 5%. So the 1% difference between the business as usual and the green economy investment is what, between the business as usual and the green economy, that difference of almost 1% is what our green economy investment will bring about. In other words, we are saying by investing in green economy, we are likely to grow our GDP much faster. So these are some of the figures which we have generated, and we have actually documented them in the Green Economy Assessment Report, which you can Google and you find it online. It's printed by UNEP. It's a very important report. Green Economy Assessment is study for Kenya. So you'll find some of those analyses and how we were able to work about it. On the green jobs which I mentioned about, every year this country, we put into the market 750 youths. Every year, 750,000, they go into the labor market. But we know we have not been able to generate enough opportunities to absorb these youths. Yet, through the green jobs, we can be able to get a number of jobs where we can put these youths on. So there are opportunities for employment if we were to invest more on this green green growth. But there are a number of challenges. First, we must have the right skills for these youths, and also we must ensure that the activities that they are doing are able to, they are of high productivity so that they can compete in the market. I've seen a number of products which are being exhibited outside. I've walked around, I've seen the kind of products they have done. And I think they are of very good quality actually, very nice quality. But when asked the price, very high for another person. But it's because again we are not able to show which one is, how do we disaggregate the pricing for green products. So now as I seek to wind my presentation, I want to show what are some of the priority areas which we really need to think about, which I think have got potential. If we invest in products which are environmental friendly, and also aspects of recycling and renewable energy, there's a huge potential for green growth in such activities. So, and also in material efficiency, how do we ensure that the activities, the enterprises that we are doing, we use the least amount of input as possible? That will also go a long way in promoting green growth. Protection, restoration, conservation, sustainable use of our natural resources. So measures which are geared towards doing that would go a long way in improving green growth. That aspect, that will touch on forestry, water, fishing, and marine conservation. All those aspects will be very important if we put in measures and strategies and programs which will go a long way in improving sustainability of those resources. And here are some of the sectors which I think we have been identified in the number of strategies, and I'm sure when the ministry will be talking to you later on, some of the priority sectors. Agriculture is a key area, not of course because it is the biggest GDP contributor, but again because of the number of people who are involved in that sector. Energy, again, as I mentioned, we have seen a number of activities which have been implemented along energy, manufacturing, transport, and waste management. Quite broad-based sectors, and so there is enough. The list is not exhaustive, but it shows that this country, it has huge potential for showcasing green growth practices and activities. Now, the ICT. I think my last slide, what's happening? My ICT person, can you save the day for me? Next. Sure, okay. Yeah, I think that should be the very last one. So now, what do we do? What do we need at the macro level to move this green economy agenda? First, we need to look at the green fiscal reforms. There are a number of taxes or incentives which our entrepreneurs require. We need to work out at the taxation regime to ensure that those struggling enterprises, they get the right incentives so that they are able to compete favorably, knowing that whatever they are doing does not only have an economic benefit, but also there is environmental and social benefits, which are usually not incorporated in the taxation measures. So if we play around with the tax measures, we are likely to improve the green economy agenda. Economic resilience and sustainable structural transformations, governance of extractive industries. Number 3, I think that's very important. Governance, we need to put in right measures. Developing capacity for technical and environmental standards. Raise up the right standards and measures. And finally, we need to have the green jobs through production and trade of green technologies, goods and services. A number of products which are being developed, where do we market them? Do we just promote and then we keep them to ourselves? So I think we need to have a system where we link the production of these markets to the market, so that we are able to ensure that these markets, once they go to the market, you are able to separate them from the general products which have not been produced through the green economy practices. So that means we develop standards, protocols, so that we are able to identify, to grow the capacity of the small-scale enterprises. So thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, John. Clearly a lot of technical information when it comes to green growth and forwarding that agenda. Three things that really stuck out for me. People, profit, and planet. That's something Priscilla had alluded to. And Priscilla, is that safe to say that that's the green growth business model? Okay, wonderful. So if anything, you can take that home with you for those of you looking to grow in the green space. Now, something very exciting happened yesterday, and John had talked about growing the economy, but not at the expense of the environment. Now, some brilliant minds, some brilliant entrepreneurs attempted to answer that question. And yesterday, they participated in the Green Enterprises Challenge. They pitched the ideas of how to contribute to green growth right here in Kenya. But I'm not going to take that shine away from the CEO of MEST, Priscilla, who's going to actually introduce these finalists and let us know who they are. They'll come up a bit later on to talk about their innovations and what they are doing to contribute to green growth.
This is going to be a very interesting session, and I believe that we'll be inspired by these young minds. When they were going through the competition, we went county by county. As I alluded to earlier, we managed 5 counties this year. The purpose of this was to generate from grassroots those innovations that can support the green growth agenda in Kenya. We had over 500 applications. There was no county we got less than 100. But unfortunately, because of availability of resources, we are only able to bring to this national competition 18 competitors from across those counties. Now, out of the 18, we had 5 women and 13 men. Well, I don't feel very excited about that, because I know we have the 1/3 gender rule, and my mathematics tells me 1/3 of 18 is 6. So we were shy of 1. However, when we talk of gender balance, from physics, for me, balance means when both sides have equal weight. So I don't understand the interpretation where gender balance means 1/3 and 2/3. But we will take it that way for now. We have the finalists who are going to pitch for you in the next few minutes, the 3 of them. But I would like to invite David from Tangaza University, who has been a facilitator in the training. He will explain to us how it happened, and then he will also call upon those entrepreneurs and introduce them for a very brief pitching, because they have already completed the competition, for you to appreciate what kind of resources we have down there. We also have said that MESP will take these 18 forward to the next level of incubation. But we would like everyone, every entrepreneur who showed up, to be supported. So it's this opportunity that I'm looking for from amongst other development partners, the governments, local governments, and also the national governments, to partner with us to support these entrepreneurs. They are the future of tomorrow, and it starts with them. the youth and the women who have got a lot to offer this nation. So David.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. This is a good ambush. I didn't know I would do that. But I think it has really, as Priscilla was saying, a very exciting adventure. I think 6 months ago, we sat, I'm from Chagaza, we sat with MESP and thought about how we could give value to entrepreneurs from different counties, actually going to the grassroots and discovering who they were. So we crafted a 6-day training program. The first 3 days would be first there would be a sensitization of the partners on the ground, because we know that there are many players working in different counties supporting young and innovative entrepreneurs, women and both the youth. So we'd have a day to go to the different counties, sensitize them, and tell them that we were coming with a good and innovative training program. So once we had done that, they'd submit the names. So the 100 names, in some counties there were more, maybe even about 200. And then we'd have a 3 days intense training in business modeling. I think this was the innovation of our training. And I was mentioning yesterday, many people who go out there training, and there is even a bit of apathy towards training. And even some people, when you go to train, they tell you, unless if you're doing this for an NGO and so on, you have to pay us for it. But then we thought, no, we are not going to give this kind of training. We're actually going to give a training that has a lot of value and will generate new and innovative entrepreneurs from the counties. And so we used the business model as a new way of training entrepreneurs. And this was really quite key, because within the 3 days, we were able to look at a business 360 degrees and understand whether it was actually sustainable, had impact, had financial appeal. Was this a business that could be invested in? And so once we had done that, we had the initial presentations, and then we actually went ahead to coach and mentor these entrepreneurs. And that will now end with the county competition. So the people that actually finalized were the most deserving in terms of business potential and impact for green growth. And after, once we had consolidated the team and the finalists from the 5 counties, we had another 4 days of a boot camp just to prepare them for the national competition. And we did that, and yesterday we had the 18 entrepreneurs pitching, quite exciting, the pitching sessions. And we ended up with the 3 winners, the top 3. And so I'm going to call them up. You will hear their pitches. You will actually see for yourself how impressive these startups are. And actually they're pitching for funding. So they're pitching for your support. You might not give them maybe hard cash, but you can give them contacts. You can think about relationships that they can build. You can think about, based on where you're coming from, whether that solution that they've invented could actually be applicable in different contexts. So these are the kinds of feedback and relationships that they like to build within this pitch. So with no much ado, I'll invite the person who came third yesterday. His name is Didan Mzirai, and will come and pitch about his innovative, Shukri Twahir. Sorry, Shukri Twahir was the third. I'll invite him to come very briefly. The pitch will take 4 to 5 minutes, and you will just see for yourself how innovative these young men are. Welcome, Shukri.
Good morning. All protocols observed. Welcome to the National Green Growth Conference. My names are Shukri Saitwair, and I'm one of the directors at Kenkoko Limited. 22 years ago, when I was born, I was diagnosed with a respiratory condition commonly referred to as asthma. This was especially hard for me because I was growing up in a Swahili household where cooking was one of the main activities done every single day. and the inhalation of the toxic fumes from the wood charcoal they used made my condition get worse. 20 years later, we found out that there was a way we could make charcoal that was completely harmless to our health and to the environment, and from there began our journey as Kenkoko. Did you know that smoke inhalation from cooking and heating with solid fuels kills more than 4 million people each and every year? And guess what? That's more than AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. 14,000 of our Kenyan brothers and sisters die every single year through household air pollution. That needs to change. Our solution, wait and find out. At Kenkoko, we recycle coconut waste to provide a cleaner and a healthier source of fuel by converting it into charcoal briquettes. Our briquettes are smokeless and last longer, which essentially means that they're safer and more economical to use compared to normal charcoal. Stockists, retailers, and supermarkets have been strategically picked out by our company to make sure that our customers from households can get easy access to the product without the need of going to far locations to look for other alternatives. Direct delivery is done to schools, hotels, restaurants, and other institutions like orphanages and elderly homes. 80% of the population in Kilifi uses biomass to cook, giving us a potential market of 1.2 million or 300,000 households. We aim for only 10% market share in 2017 or 30,000 households. Our partners, as you can see, are MASP, who gave us mentorship, Spark, who gave us access to resources, GACC for capacity building, and Tangaza College for training. Our main competition in the coast is from charcoal vendors who cut down our beautiful forests to give you wood charcoal, which in turn affects your health. We at Kenkoko have an experienced team, an exclusive relationship with all our raw material suppliers, and an elusive CAP certification to make sure we can penetrate both the local and the international market. As you can see, this is our management team. We have Said Twahir, who's our CEO and co-founder with 20 years experience in marketing and administration. I myself am a director and a COO with logistics and distribution experience, and Mrs. Najda Mazrui, who's our director with 10 years experience in finance and administration. As you can see, we have two revenue streams. One, fireballs, and the second one we call hexa bricks. It cost us 17 shillings to produce a kilo of fireballs, which we sell at 40 shillings, and 15 shillings to produce a kilo of hexa bricks, which we sell at 35 shillings, making us a profit margin of 57.5% and 57.1% respectively. As you can see in our financials, in the year 2014-2015, we made losses because it's not that easy for new products to be accepted in the market. In 2015-2016, we had a revenue of $7,000, cost of $50,000, and profits of $20,000. By 2018-2019, we expect our revenue to be at $220,000 with cost of $100,000 and make profits of $120,000. For every ton of our briquettes consumed, 25 trees are saved, 5 tons of carbon-related emissions are avoided, 10 people minimize their risk of respiratory illnesses. At the moment, we have 15 direct employees, 12 being women, and hundreds more as raw material suppliers. By 2017, we expect to employ 5 more workers and empower more as we keep growing. Our ask to the investors is 6 million Kenya shillings as convertible loan repayable in 3 years to build, where 3 million will be used to build 5 carbonization kilns to make sure we can secure our own supply of raw material. The other 3 million will be used to purchase a truck for transportation of the raw material to our factory and our product to our customers. We at Ken Coco are all about making change, so join us into making the world a better and a safer place. Think green, think Ken Coco. Thank you.
I think he deserves another round of applause, right? So we're saying think green, think Ken Coco, right? So how green, how more green can it get more than that? I think really on point on the conference. So the second, the one who came second yesterday is Muchai Maina. Please come forward and make your presentation. Thank you.
The Governor of Laikipia County, the Chairman of MEST, the CEO, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Maina Muchai, co-founder and CEO of Smart Builder Solution. Now, by the end of the day today, you will have consumed 2, 3, 4, or even 5 bottles of water. Have you paused to think where those bottles are going to end up after you're done with it? Smart Builder Solution, we carried out a survey and we noticed probably the bottles that you're using, the paper bags that you'll take home from shopping are going to end up in our drains. And when it rains, people who are living in slums, people who are living in the low-income areas are going to suffer losses. To some, it will be death. Some, they will lose everything that they own once their houses are washed away. Nairobi produces about 30 metric tons of waste. 35% of that is plastic. 300,000 units of houses are needed every year. These people who suffer the brunt of this problem, half of them are not employed. As Smart Builder Solution, we decided to work with these people who suffer these consequences by manufacturing building materials and structures using all these types of waste. These products are cheaper, they are lighter, and easily deployed, hence saving the person who's developing time and, more importantly, money. We manufacture smart blocks, and these are the blocks that we use to build houses like the ones you see there, like the one you see there. We manufacture paving blocks and also paving slabs. This is how we do it. From the equipment that you see there, most of it uses energy. Manufacturing new plastic consumes 33% more energy than what it costs to recycle plastic. To do that, I have a team. I'm the CEO and co-founder. We have Bilha Ashira. She has exceptional sales skills with 6 years experience. We have George Gashogo, who assures quality of the products that we make with experience in building in the building industry. Our advisory board, we have Bensha Engineering and Building Contractors, Dr. Agan Joshua, who has been very helpful in technical advice. We have Onesmus Kamande and Keruki and Kaika Advocates. Most of the competition that we are facing are normally doing concrete products. When concrete and water mixes, weakness is what is experienced. Our products do not absorb water, meaning that the strength is sustained for a long period of time. The other competitors are people who are doing houses with iron sheets. Iron sheets over time, they rust. And also, when the temperatures outside either go up or come down, there is a lot of discomfort. Our products have very low thermal conductivity, meaning that ideal temperatures are maintained within the house. They are lightweight, like I've mentioned earlier, that is easier deployment. Those are unit costs. A square foot of paving blocks, we are selling at 60 shillings per square foot, 12 shillings for the smart block, and 50 for the paving slab. And we also do trainings. That is the major, that's our major source of revenue. On our projections, by end of 2016, we'll have made a loss of around 740,000 because it has taken time for us to do traction with the research that is needed. But with some of the people that you've brought in, we'll be able to invest in better equipment, which towards the end of 2017, we are projecting to make around 5.6 million, and with a 25% increase going forward. Those are the risks that we feel that we might face: operational, financial, compliance, and we have put in place plans on how to mitigate them. We are working with the National Construction Authority for advice on this new technology that has not been there. We're working with the county government on Nakuru, specifically the Directorate of Environment and Natural Resource. We are talking to several building societies and real estate developers so that we can start at a point, preferably doing perimeter fences, and then we can be able to move to the next step. MESP has been very helpful to us through capacity building and trainings. What we are asking for is around 20 million shillings as a 7-year convertible debt, so that we can be able to build a fully integrated waste management plant. 20% of that will be used to market our products, and the balance shall be used as working capital. With that kind of help, we'll be able to build, by beginning 2018, 2,000 affordable and decent houses. We'll have created 40 jobs and 10% yearly increase on the jobs that we'll have created. We want to avert about 1 million yearly deaths, considering around 7 million people die because of pollution. Join us so that we can make Kenya a truly greener, cleaner, and healthier place to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muchai. I think all of us want an affordable and decent house, right? And I think we have to talk to Muchai after this so that we can start engaging him to start getting those houses for us. And while we're doing that, we're really conserving the environment, and we're creating green jobs. Thanks, Muchai. So the winner of the National Green Growth Challenge was Didas Mzirai. So we invite him to make his presentation.
Your Excellency, the Governor, Laikipia County, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I remember sitting in a tree as a very young boy with mango juice dripping down my chin. You know, I loved mangoes, and I still do. But I don't love the unacceptable and avoidable wastage in our industry, where 1 in 2 mangoes don't make it to the market. As a young boy from a very poor family, I had to work during my school holidays, picking mangoes for a fruit exporting company in order to make ends meet. Having worked for a fruits exporting company, I witnessed firsthand how poor rural smallholder farmers are being exploited by middlemen and their products graded at the point of exit, leaving them with a lot of rejects, which end up flooding the local markets and rotting just because they don't meet the required international standards. My name is Didas Mzirai, CEO of Mucho Mangoes, and I have a solution. For I believe in an Africa where rural smallholder farmers lead successful lives, out of poverty. But now, across Africa, farmers are losing an average of 50% of their produce due to post-harvest losses. This is unacceptable, and that's why I formed Mucho Mangoes. an organization that is dedicated to empowering rural smallholder farmers, and we provide a ready and reliable market for their produce. And how do we do that? It is simple. We are the experts in that field, and we have devised a 5-step business model that provides the best solution. We mobilize farmers and partners, and we empower the farmers by providing them with free training on pre- and post-harvest crops handling skills, with much emphasis on biological production, enabling the farmers to produce better quality products using materials and resources that are found within their own backyard. We then link the farmers to affordable and inclusive finance, agricultural finance and farm inputs, and we support them throughout the production process. After helping the farmers to mass produce better quality products, we then provide a ready market for their produce by buying their mangoes at a good price, adding value to the mangoes by drying them through solar dehydrated dryers, and producing pectin powder from the mango waste. So currently we are operating in Taita Taveta County, but we anticipate that by December 2020 we will be operating in all the mango producing counties in Kenya. So since being selected as the best agribusiness in Taita Taveta County by the Green Enterprise Challenge, we have really attracted very significantly important partners. One of them is the Fund for Internet Research and Education, whom we just signed a 2.5 million grant, and we are going to educate 400 farmers in Taita Taveta County on pre- and post-harvest crops handling skills and also ICT skills in order to integrate farmers into ICT to enable the farmers to use internet and to search for market information, to search for modern agricultural production technologies, and to search for better prices so that they are better positioned to produce more, better quality products, and fetch better prices. We have also attracted the East African community who are working with GIZ, and we have undergone already and passed through due diligence, and they are providing us with 5 million to procure solar dryers and train 100 farmers from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So our project is being used to promote integration and cohesion among the citizens of the East African community. So we have competition, we have competitors, but our competitors don't add value to farm produce. They just buy and sell fresh produce, and they use middlemen who exploit the farmers. But we are empowering the farmers. We are adding value to farm produce by drying the mangoes, and we are also helping the farmers in production. And backed by government, we restrain our competitors from buying from our contracted schemes, and that's our competitive advantage. So that's our management team. We have Mr. Ogingo, who heads production, Mr. Machaku, who heads the finance department, and we also have an advisory board who helps us in decision-making, strategic decision-making. So this quarter alone, with a startup expenditure of 2.1 million, we expect that by 31st December, this quarter alone will be making a profit of 467,000, and this is the worst-case scenario. And we anticipate to achieve investment recovery by December 2018. So initially we were asking for 7.5 million, but with the coming in of East African Community and GIZ, who have provided us with 5 million, we are now asking for 2.5 million to be able now to purchase the mangoes from the farmers. So our impact includes creating 30 green jobs through processing and packing. We are training 519 farmers, and we are helping the farmers to reduce wastage, losses, and increase incomes by adding value through drying and also making pectin powder. So if you're interested in empowering rural smallholder farmers, please join us as we seek to revolutionize agriculture here in Kenya and help to reduce wastage, losses, and poverty in the mango farming industry. I thank you, and God bless you.
You could feel the passion of a fresh mango. I think they are also around, and I think he has an exhibition, and we can actually meet Didas so that we can know more about what he's doing and actually think about how to invest in him and bring that change and spread it across. So I invite the rapporteur, Victoria, to continue with the program. Thank you.
Thank you, David. You can see why I said yesterday there was a lot of excitement, and we can see why they indeed were the finalists. Congratulations to them. But it doesn't end there. We'll be awarding them a bit later on in the program. But we'd like to hear from one of the key supporters of this Green Growth Conference. Anne Angwenyi is a team leader from Danida Green Growth and Employment Program, speaking on behalf of the Danish ambassador. I invite her now to make her remarks. She will then invite our chief guest, Governor Joshua Irungu, the governor of Laikipia County. Anne.
Thank you, Victoria. Before I start the speech, I'd like to convey the sincere apologies of the Ambassador, Her Excellency Mette Knudsen, Ambassador of Denmark to Nairobi. She would have really loved to be here, but unfortunately, due to unavoidable circumstances, she has not been able to attend. However, she does send her apologies and does recognize this event as a very, very important event. As such, I will be reading a speech that she prepared, and I hope I will be able to convey her message as clearly as she wanted me to do so. Your Excellency, Joshua Irungu, Governor, Laikipia County, Mr. Henry Dede, UNEP Kenya Country Program Manager, Mr. Mureithi Kagai, Chairman of MEST, members of the Board of Trustees of MEST, the CEO of MEST, Priscilla Gadiga, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, all protocol is observed. It is a great pleasure for me to be here this morning to give a few remarks at this very important conference on accelerating sustainable development through inclusive green growth. I am very pleased that so many prominent representatives from government, business, and organizations have accepted the invitation to attend this event. As we all know, there is need to act, and your presence here indicates this desire to act in Kenya is very high on the agenda of green growth. Sustainable economic development is now a key goal of many governments around the world, including in Kenya and in this region. The reason for this is very clear and compelling. If we are not successful in finding ways to grow our economies in a more sustainable and inclusive way, we face a future of increasing resource scarcity and competition, continued environmental degradation, and unabated climate change impacts, which could potentially be catastrophic for our economies and societies. A rapid, large-scale transition is therefore needed if economic growth is to continue. An inclusive green economy, thus, is an opportunity to advance both sustainably and social equity as a function of a stable and prosperous economy. It is also a chance to look at the impact of individuals and societies as consumers and how our lifestyles draw from and imprint upon the environment. Transition to an inclusive green economy, therefore, has the potential to unlock new growth engines and spur global economic growth. In recent years, many nations of the world have come together on several occasions to provide common answers to a common challenge. That is, to ensure inclusive economic growth while promoting the sustainable use of resources. It is indeed extremely gratifying to see Kenya participating in such discussions as is exemplified in today's conference. I want to make 3 observations on the way forward towards an inclusive green economy. Firstly, the theme of our conference is the link between sustainable development, economic growth, and the business bottom line of profitability. The first message I want to emphasize today is that green growth offers enormous economic and business opportunities. We will hear firsthand about some of the opportunities that can be created if we support the transition towards a green economy over the next 2 days of this conference from distinguished colleagues in government, business, as well as the science and innovation community. Already we've heard from 3 of the winning representatives of companies on the innovations that they have created and the jobs that they aspire to create in this country. I believe that this conference will provide a unique platform for representatives from these diverse backgrounds to listen to each other and form networks that will drive the green transition forward. My second observation is that governments do play a major role in creating the enabling environment and political support for green growth. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya's Green Economy Assessment Report of 2014 identified many important potential benefits in the medium and long term across all the sectors of our economy. Indeed, a shift in investments to green sectors would lead to an additional 3.1 million people being lifted out of poverty by 2030 as compared to a business-as-usual investment. This was clearly depicted by Mr. Nyangena's presentation that we heard earlier. Denmark firmly believes that a transition from the business-as-usual brown economy to an ambitious, low-carbon, climate-resilient, and green development pathway is very possible in Kenya's economy. Indeed, Denmark has had the pleasure of working with Kenya in securing this transition towards a green economy, and for the past 10 years has supported various initiatives by the government of Kenya towards securing an enabling environment that continues to provide policy guidance towards sustainable development. This is especially depicted in our support on various policies such as the National Climate Change Response Strategy and Action Plan, the Climate Change Policy and Act, and more recently, the Green Economy Strategy and Implementation Plan. But it is not enough to only have policies. And this brings me to the third point. We need to bring the private sector and the public sector together into a working coalition. I am very pleased to see very many private sector representatives at this conference. Over the years, development agencies have learned that it is critical to include the private sector in the development agenda, because this is the sector that is pivotal in turning words into deeds. In this specific context, having the private sector on board as a key driver to green growth and in the move towards a green economy will ensure sustainable economic growth. The business opportunities offered by green growth are the major themes that we will explore during our conference today and tomorrow. And this has also been exhibited very well by many of the exhibitions that we went through this morning. The scenario analysis undertaken by UNEP's Green Economy Assessment report on Kenya revealed that an economy-wide transition to a green economy would realize positive dividends for this country within 7 to 10 years. This was a report that was done in 2014. So by 2024, we should see various results of transiting into a green economy. However, The report noted that in the long term, transitioning to a green economy would result in faster economic growth and increased wealth creation opportunities. With consistent green investments, the report projected that by 2030, Kenya's annual real gross development product growth would be 5.2% as compared to 4.6% under a business-as-usual scenario, with real per capita GDP increasing by 30% and CO2 emission reductions in excess of 2.0 million tons per year being realized. Further, green transition in the agriculture sector would result in improved crop yields of over 20% per hectare as compared to the business-as-usual scenario. Therefore, assuming the economy grows by at least 5.2% per annum, GDP is projected to reach 10.6 billion by 2013 compared to 9 billion under a business-as-usual scenario. And for the economists in the House, this is a great leap forward, not only for bringing people out of poverty, but also in terms of money in the pocket, as everybody says. You know, what does it mean for me personally? It means increase of money in the pocket. Technology innovation will also be instrumental in the realization of a green economy. The opportunities are immense for Kenya, ranging from energy efficiency, energy management systems and storage, smart grid technologies, clean transport, and water management and efficiency systems, as well as waste management systems and intelligent data management. This is yet another element that the private sector is best positioned to drive. However, for it to succeed, government and development partners need to provide the space and opportunities. Before I conclude, I wish to reiterate Denmark's support to Kenya in this greening agenda. In December 2015, the governments of Denmark and Kenya signed a 5-year green growth and employment program. This support to green growth will focus on sustainable food production, access to energy and water, integrated climate efforts, and will provide Kenya with financial and technical support amounting to Kenya shillings 7 billion. By promoting green growth based on sustainable management and use of natural resources, Denmark will support Kenya in generating sustainable and inclusive economic growth and job creation. In this program, it is anticipated that the private sector will be a force for economic growth and employment and contribute to sustainable and inclusive development. Because we believe that growth in the agriculture sector has a greater effect on poverty reduction than growth in any other sector, Denmark will continue to work on strengthening agriculture and food production in Kenya. This will entail a strong effort to promote growth and employment creation and strengthening of the whole production value chain and access to financial credit by farmers, and hence our continued support to MEF, where we will be providing over 1 billion shillings for this purpose. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, green growth will only succeed if there is an open and inclusive dialogue between citizens, civil society, the private sector, and public authorities on how green initiatives will be planned and adapted to country-specific situations. Denmark will therefore work to promote participation and inclusion within the Green Growth and Employment Program, thereby supporting the model of people, planet, and profit. The journey towards a truly inclusive green economy continues, and many challenges remain. But the interest and potential of the private sector, governments, and civil society to support a sustainable and inclusive future has never been greater. Our responsibility as individuals and societies is to continue to put sustainability and equity at the heart of our economic decision-making. And, like the chairman earlier mentioned, as we think not of today, but remember there is a tomorrow and there is a future to come for our children and our children's children. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Anne from Danida, speaking on behalf of the Danish Ambassador Mette Knudsen. I'd like to now call on Governor Joshua Irungu, the governor of Laikipia County, to make his remarks, and then invite our chief guest for the ceremony following.
Our chief guest today, the PS Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, Dr. Andrew Tumal, the loyal Danish Embassy representative, Madam Anne Agwenyi, the coordinator of Kenya Country Program, UNEP, Henry, the chairman of MESEP, Mr. Mureithi Kagai, and the board members, the CEO, the MESEP program, Madam Priscilla, the green growth advocates and ambassadors who include the national eco-strategy champions. I feel honored to be here with you today for the third National Green Growth Conference and Exhibition today, which have attracted so many and particularly new innovative ideas. This morning, our chief guests, I'm sure you have not really benefited from our exhibitions. And I will tell you that there are great things and great ideas that you need to look at and appreciate before even you leave, because they are great ideas. And I want to congratulate all the exhibitors this time for the new innovations that have come up. I got touched when I went loud, and I thought that some of these ones we need, all of us, particularly the county government. If we mean good to our people, these are the new ideas that we need to promote and scale them up. I want to take this early moment to congratulate our three champions of Biosely, the Musho Mangoes, Bonadidas, Smart Builder Solution, Bona Mushai, and Kenko, Bona Said Twahil, for the presentation that you have made today. And I'm sure our development partners who are here today, you have heard the gaps that they have, particularly the request for the financial support. I think these are the ones that we need to support when we mean that we want to promote the new innovations, the new great ideas for this country. I would propose that those great ideas, we need to pick them and move forward. I want first to also appreciate this forum, and for the people that we have not been able to interact with them for these conferences. I want to start by saying my names are Joshua Wakahora Irogo. I'm the chief servant of Laikipia County. But when I come to the forums here out of the county, I become the governor. So I am here representing the council of governors. But I will only give an example of how of the county government is coming on board in supporting the green growth economy in this country, by just giving a case study of what we are doing as a county, which is a model of other counties of what they are all of us attempting to do. I want to first start by saying that Kenya is closed with the climate and food insecurity challenges. Part of this region has been marked by low food production, labor migration, increased degradation of forests and water resources, and livestock and human diseases, particularly when we are talking about the dry and arid areas. These intersecting challenges of land use changes, climate change, food insecurity present a unique challenge for the devolved government in Kenya, and more specifically in the arid and semi-arid region of Kenya. To address some of these above challenges, as well as unlocking green growth economy in Kenya, the great county of Laikipia have developed a program titled Laikipia Green Integrated Investment Program, whose goal is to build and enhance climate change resilient households and livelihoods in Laikipia County, targeting the 26% of the county's vulnerable population. Laikipia County covers an area of about 9,500 kilometers squared, with the 2016 population projection at 500,000 people and poverty level of 43%, and over 80% of the land is semi-arid, characterized with climate change-related hazards, and many of you are aware of that. The program that we are developing, or we have developed as a county, is a program that is having three components, major components. One is diversified livelihood options that includes issues like drought-escaping crops, the industrial crops, water harvesting technologies, drip irrigations, as well as the other component is ecological service and biomass availability. This is where we have come up with a 40 million tree planting program that is geared to achieving the county 10% of the tree cover. At the moment we start around 6.9%. So with the 40 million tree planting program, we will be able to be achieving the 10% of the tree cover. And again, also it's capturing about protecting even the existing woodrots and shrublands. We are also talking about the renewable energy technologies, as well as enhancing knowledge and skill management that is a cross-cutting component in all those programs. The program is aligned to the global commitment on the Sustainable Development Goals. It is consistent with the Vision 2030 and the Laikipia County Integrated Development Plan, which all the counties managed to develop in their inception. We have also included or considered the Climate Change Act of this country of the year 2016 and other related legislations and policies. The program will ensure sustainability through community involvement in the execution of the various components to create ownership. It will also create synergies across the various stakeholders and enhance capacity for knowledge and skills application in climate change related interventions. The implementation of the program will be done with the support of the national government agencies, private sector, partners and development actors like MESEP, and county has developed partnership with learning and research institutions for successful implementation of the program. The expected outcome include enhanced ecological services and biomass availability, increased access to clean energy technologies at household level, enhanced food and water access at household level, and improved household income levels. Out of that program, the retro we have implemented that program. There are a number of challenges that have come up, and some of the recommendations that we are coming up with to recommend to this conference, among them is that we need, as the counties, as well as the national government, and as well as with the support of the development partners, we need to come up with the supportive policies and legal frameworks to support development of innovative ideas that recognizes inclusive green economy. We also need to come up with integrated programs that appreciate multi-sectoral approach in development. We also need to enhance our sector of capacity building and skill development on entrepreneurship and business modeling for our youth generation. We also need to promote the policies that will help our people to move away from conventional agriculture by initiating irrigation projects. We need also to promote innovative, youthful agriculture enterprises, promote water harvesting technologies, and green-friendly water supply technologies, like what we have appreciated this morning. We also need to promote sustainable development that will call upon consultative stakeholders dialogues to spearhead development of integrated programs. And lastly, we need also, as we have got the various challenges from our exhibitors this morning, that we need to help our people change the mindset by having and organizing public sensitization forums on the use of the newly green innovative technology products so that we are able to create and expand our marketing base. And with that, I wish all the best, all of you the best, and fruitful deliberations in the 3rd National Green Growth Conference. And with that, I want now to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Andrew, to address the conference and officially open this conference. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Habari zenu. I gather you had invited the Deputy President as the guest, but as you know, he's out of the country. There are also various other activities going on at the moment. So I've come in today as a guest for this forum. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me recognize the governor of Laikipia County, my friend Irungu, Mr. Irungu, Anna Mwenyi from the Royal Dutch Embassy, Henry Ndede, the country representative unit, Muridi Kaigai from MESPT Trust, Priscilla Kadiga, the CEO, and board members, all invited guests and other development partners who may be here. Let me start by saying that my name is Andrew Tuimur. I'm the Principal Secretary for Livestock within the Greater Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries and Blue Economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here today to officiate on this conference and exhibition. Being the 3rd Green Growth Conference and Exhibition which is being held today. The Kenyan government is committed to fast-tracking the nation's advancement towards green growth. We welcome this conference and its potential to further existing dialogues and engagements with stakeholders in the green growth value chain. Indeed, Vision 2030, which you all know, underscores the importance of investments in renewable energy, promotion of resource-efficient and cleaner production, and environmental planning and governance. This work is all-encompassing and necessary. We are already seeing the devastating effects of climate change linked to increased global carbon dioxide emissions and their impact on agricultural productivity in Kenya and the consequent threats to food security. Undoubtedly, the time to accelerate adoption of the tenets of green economies is now. On May 6, 2016, Kenya's Climate Change Act 2014 became law, as you are all aware, and this provides a framework for mitigating and adapting to the effects of climate change on all sectors of the economy and levels of governance. This law follows a long line of other pro-green energy legislatures which have been affected in Kenya. In 1994, for example, Kenya ratified to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, and complied with Conference of Parties COP21. By July 2015, Kenya had submitted a new climate change action plan. The intended nationally determined contribution framework highlighted plans to lower greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by before 2030. But even before that, Kenya had already put together an Environmental Management and Coordination Act 1999, which provides that every person in Kenya is entitled to clean and healthy environment and has the duty to safeguard and enhance the environment. This is the act that led to the establishment of NEMA, a National Environment Management Authority, which, among other duties, is mandated to engage in natural resources management and environmental protection. Further to that, the Energy Act 2012 and Green Economic Strategic and Implementation Plan of 2015 were all intended to further streamline various development sectors towards green growth. So the long-term inclusive green growth is possible, especially given that Kenya is blessed with natural resources necessary to create green energy such as nearly all year round sunshine, wind, the biomass, geothermal, and all the rest. So, ladies and gentlemen, in 2010, a nuclear electricity project committee was established as nuclear energy has been identified as one of the sources of energy that would substantially address the prevailing energy deficits. But no initiative can succeed in isolation. Kenya's green growth ambitions require buy-ins from national and county governments. We're happy the county government is represented here. Civil society organizations, the academia, and Kenyan citizens. Public-private partnerships that offer finance, technology development, and transfer or capacity building are also just as crucial. For instance, to fully implement the intended nationally determined contribution as planned, Kenya requires to the tune of $40 billion. So successful PPPs trainings have in the past brought about some of Africa's largest renewable energy projects, including the one you've heard of, the 87 billion Lake Turkana wind power project, and the 62 billion Olkaria 3 geothermal power plants. During the U.S. President Barack Obama's historic visit to Kenya for the GES summit, his government gave Kenya grants to the tune of Kenya shilling 700 million for green energy projects. So we must encourage such partnerships in order to move on. This goes to the heart of the sustainable development goals that the country is striving to achieve. Goal 7, which you know ensures access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable and modern energy for all. And Goal 17 seeks to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So, ladies and gentlemen, the government recognizes the ways in which SDGs can transform societies. And we must achieve these goals even in the face of rapid urbanization and population growth and large share of rural people's livelihood being dependent on natural resources. A key strategy is to make conversion to green energy a rewarding process for all stakeholders, especially everyday citizens. It is worrying that more than 56% of over 44 million Kenyan households still use firewood as the main source of cooking fuel. In most rural areas, as you know, this can be as high as even 8 in every other 10 households. And 74% of the Kenyans still using solid fuel for cooking. This has to change, and soon. The government is presently looking into lowering taxes and arbitrary levies that will enable more Kenyans to embrace simple green technologies such as use of energy-saving GECOs, the purchase of solar panels, and lowering of electricity costs. And I'm sure you've all seen that which is being done by the Ministry of Energy. Indeed, the ERC, the Energy Regulatory Commission, has begun reviewing, it's already doing that, the National Grid Code to enhance the country's capacity to absorb additional renewable energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, green energy is the future, and Kenya must continue to work the work needed to realize this future. I wish at this juncture to appreciate what the Micro Enterprises Support Program Trust is doing for organizing these annual conferences, this being the third, and their efforts in spearheading sustainable agriculture and their passion, of course, of pushing the green energy agenda. So I would like to urge other organizations, other development partners from the donor communities, government and private sector organizations to partner with this micro-enterprise support program trust and other like-minded institutions to champion the green growth agenda in a more decisive manner. So, ladies and gentlemen, with those few remarks, I want to officially declare this forum open. And thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tuimur. And now at this juncture, we had promised that we would properly recognize the finalists of the Green Enterprise Challenge. They made their pitches and it was clear why they reached that top of the competition. I'd like to invite once more the MEST CEO, Priscilla, to guide us through this award ceremony. We'll also ask our chief guest, Dr. Tuimur, to indulge us once more as we award them and congratulate them for their brilliant ideas that hopefully will fast-track Kenya on its green growth agenda. Priscilla.
First, I would like to congratulate not only the winners, but every one of the entrepreneurs who participated in this green challenge in the counties. You may not have made it to this level because we can only have one winner. But all your businesses were viable, and that is why you were able to go through the academy. Like we said yesterday, these businesses have to continue being supported because you started them because you believed in them. There will be challenges here and there. And that is why MESP is here. We will be available for you to give you advice and fill in the gap.
Conference here include agriculture, infrastructure, water, and the transport system, which are key elements of the economy. Now, if you look at agriculture, for instance, here the agriculture system as it is today uses a lot of non-sustainable methods, which include the fertilizers that we use, and also the livestock industry itself, in fact, is said to be one of the biggest contributors to climate change. And green growth basically is about scaling down climate change. And from the presentations that we've had here is that if the economy goes green, then the GDP of the country gets to grow by at least 1% more than it would if the economy stayed as it is today. Now, the green growth agenda is not just a Kenyan agenda, it's a global agenda. Everybody is talking about the green growth. And for the next few days, we've got some, the green growth challenge, whereby we've got some developing some sort of green growth innovations. For instance, we've seen a presentation here that dries mangoes in order to cut down on post-harvest losses, as well as using biogas and as well as also using biogas, as I said. Now, the challenge here now is for you to be able to live the green growth life, which means in your house, use energy-saving bulbs and also cut down on the water that you use. Back to you in studio.